Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This has been a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of The Walking Dead. Another fantastic episode. It's so interesting, this episode kind of gave me what I wanted. It's a very Negan and Gabriel episode, but it gave me a little more insight to Negan, which I've wanted since he popped up. I've just wanted, who is Negan, how he got, we get a little taste of that, and it's just like, what I also appreciate about this episode is it showed you a different side of the Saviors, that even when we saw Daryl's side of the story last season, we still never 100% saw this side of things. And it's just so interesting seeing the conversations between Gabriel and Negan. And like I said, we almost see, it's messed up, but in this episode you kind of go, oh, it's almost like there's this little part of me that's like, are the Saviors as bad as we think they are? And I feel kind of scummy for thinking that, because it's like, yo, I need to be backing up Alexandria, the kingdom, and Hillside. Those, it's like those are our people. Those are our protagonists. And then there's a little bit of me. It's like I kind of sided with the antagonists a little bit in this episode, and it's just so interesting. I mean, I think that's also a good thing that the show does too. I mean, there are clear-cut antagonists, and Negan has always been that. But now it's kind of like in this state of this world, protagonists and antagonists can flip-flop just like that, because no one's 100% innocent in this world and everything. Anyway, just breaking everything down, just the fact is, I love that this episode is kind of based around Gabriel wanting to do something more, because for Gabriel it's all about making up for all he's done, because Gabriel, as we remember, is very, he even confesses his biggest weakness was what he did, locking his congregation out, and listening to them die, and he wasn't there, he didn't help them, he didn't save them. I mean, let's not forget he tried to screw over Rick and their group by being like, oh, you can't let them into Alexandria, they're killers, they're this and that. But subsequently since, he's easily gained Rick's trust, because it's like, you are a very different person, you're reliable. And I think Gabriel is always trying to strive to live up to those expectations. It's like, I failed you before, I won't fail you again. I failed people before you, I won't fail this group of people that I'm with, So I think it's a beautiful thing that mixes with Negan, who in his own way is kind of the reason why we're the Saviors is because I'm trying to save people. I even love that little twist that they did of this season premiere. Basically we saw it from the Savior's perspective, and a little meeting between the big dogs and Negan. And I love Gregory's whole situation. You have Simon fixing him food. He's like, now that my love is inside of you, he fixed him food and everything. And I love it. Gregory no. I mean, obviously I didn't know about this. Obviously, if I knew I would come. It's like, Gregory, I get it. You don't have to, this is literally the third time you've said that to me. And then later on he's like, Gregory, I believe you. Now make Negan believe you. And it's just that whole situation of well, I haven't killed people before, and I don't like to kill people, so I know you don't like to kill people. And Negan's like, actually, I do. Me and Lucille, we love it. And it's because for him, it's taking out people at the right time, the right people at the right place. That's what he wants to do now. It's he wants Rick, he wants Ezekiel, and he wants Maggie, because it's remove them, this little rebellion that they've got set up, it's crushed. So that's his main thing. Because Negan, it's weird. Like I said, because it seemed like Negan was just some crazy psychopath, but it's no, there's some reasoning to what he's doing. It's I don't want to kill a lot of people either, because for him, because it's Simon's well, if we can't do what we need to, let's go in and wipe out the hilltop. And you see a side of Negan go, because Negan's always, he's serious sometimes, but you see him jokingly, it's woo, up there talking about Gregory having a thin dick and all that. That's Negan. And you see him slam Lucille on the table. No, we're not going to do that, because people are a resource. We need people, so, and it's so interesting, because it's to me, I thought Negan didn't care about people, but this whole thing was built because Negan does kind of care. It's so weird. I think it's also trying to draw the parallels, and maybe they've already kind of really set this up last season, but to me, I feel even more so in this episode, trying to show you that Rick and Negan are not that different, I mean, that's where my mind is at. The fact is, they do care about people around them, and it's just a fascinating thing, because Negan's basically Negan's I'm a weak person. We all are. Everyone has strength and weakness, but basically he took his weakness and turned it to a strength. Because of that, he was able to take control of this place, because the people that were running before his, they didn't know what they were doing. They weren't controlling nothing. And basically he took the sanctuary and he built structure. The people here, they're not slaves. They get fed, they work, But I mean, like I said, it's very contrast to what we saw with Daryl's episode, because it's like, oh man, this is like, oh, this is some like almost dictator level stuff. But it's like, there is, like I said, there is a hierarchy and there's a structure to it. It is almost like, in his weird way, Negan is bringing back society. To him, it's like, this whole situation, it's simple, pure economics. It's all it is. So to him, people are a resource, people are like money. So it's just kind of like I said, he's building a structure of a societal structure in a sense. So it's just, I keep saying, and I know you're probably sick of hearing the word, but it's so fascinating. We learned a little bit more about him. Don't know exactly what he did, but apparently he try to put kids on the right path. I don't know whether that's supposed to imply he was with the military, whether he's a teacher, but it's a situation where he wanted to put kids on the right path. Because it's like, kids who are douchebags as kids will grow up to be bigger douchebags. And it's just, you got to lead them in the right place. And it's like the same thing for adults too. They need to be led or they end up going down the wrong path. So I guess he looks at himself as kind of like, we are the saviors because we save people, we point them in the right direction. I mean, imagine when you break it down and look at it, it's like, it seems like it's more other people inside the saviors that are kind of kill crazy, whereas Negan's just like, no, he was going to take Rick and them out for the purposes of getting people back in line, because it's like, hey, I'm trying to build a world of strength. I'm trying to get people to take their weakness and make a strength from it. Also, it's kind of interesting too, because we had like a Dwight situation kind of pop up this episode with Simon, because after Simon had said that, like, Negan's like, are we sliding back, Simon? And Simon's like, no. And it's so interesting because it's like, we see his generals by his side. It's like, they ain't got nothing to fear from Negan, but it's like, in that moment he's hit Lucille on the table, everybody jumped. It's like, even they're not exempt from fear of Negan. They are afraid of him. And it's just like, dude, I thought like, while you're at the top, you have no fear. But it's like, no, that don't mean jack squat. Because he also threw out the aspect, Gabriel also threw in his face, like, we know what Carl told us about the fact that you have all those wives. What about them? Was there a first? And to me, immediately I go, is that what that whole Lucille situation is about? Is that supposed to be like your first wife? Which he talks about her a little bit, because the fact is that she was sick, like, before this all started, but he cheated on her, wasn't a faithful husband, and then she died, but she died during this, so she came back, but he couldn't bring himself to kill her. Situation we've seen come up before, and for him that was his weakness, not being able to do it what he needed to do. So like I said, so interesting. Like, I was so sure, I was like, the moment he got a chance, he was going to kill Gabriel, but it's like, no. He's like, you and me, we worked together, we survived this. He's like, I'm going to take you, Gabriel, and you're going to be my new project. And it's like I said, you saw such an interesting side to Negan. I feel like you saw the human in him. Like it's such a different perspective. I can't stop talking because that was such an amazing job, because it's giving me what I've wanted. I think I brought this up all last season. Like, I wanted a Negan episode and they gave it to me. Like, I didn't get everything, but just this little bit was enough to like give me a little nibble on that, So I really appreciated that, like, him and Gabe, like, when they went out, they actually had each other back. He was popping walkers in the head. Gabe had his back by shooting them. It's like, I also love the fact is that he punched Gabe for like locking himself away and taking the gun and trying to take some shots at him. It's like, wow, Negan's actually kind of forgiving a little bit, because it's like, oh, we may live through this, we may die. I was so certain. I was like, oh, is he actually going to bring? I was like, no. He's going to wait till the last second. He's going to kill Gabe, isn't he? It's like, oh, no. He let Gabriel live. Because he kind of wants to indoctrinate Gabe into all of this, too. Because it's just like, it's so good. And then I love, because this all this is all happening, the inside is falling apart, because Negan brings up the fact is, because I'm not there, that basically he had structure, because he keeps not only the peace, he keeps his generals in line. Like Simon kind of took control and was like, oh, we should do this and that, like, which you had Dwight as well as Eugene being basically like, no, we can't just sacrifice them, because it's like, we'll get overrun, because you want to take a few out there, and it's like, we can't do that, because the moment you sacrifice a few, basically that's going to lead to a situation of the others kind of getting pissed too. So it's just like, no, we got to keep everything in order, we got to find a different way of handling this. And also there's a whole traitor situation, like, oh, the only reason why this happened, there's got to be a traitor amongst us, particular someone in this room. Obviously Eugene himself is kind of like, I'm to target, because I'm the new guy. I was originally part of Alexandria, so now it's kind of like, so But the fact of the matter is, like, that whole situation, they cut off power to kind of conserve power because everyone, so there's no AC. Obviously, they're low on supplies because of the attacks and everything. And it's so, like, obviously, you see the people kind of rising up, and the generals are basically like, yo, everyone calm down. It's like, where is Negan? And it's like, no, there's no, like, oh, you're suffering. Oh, we work and you protect us. That was the whole deal, right? And ultimately, like, Regina ended up killing a dude because he ended up having a gun. And then all of a sudden you hear that whistle and you're like, oh, oh my. And then you have Negan walking in with Gabe and everyone's bowing down. He's like, oh man, you thought I was dead. I'm not dying until I'm ready to die. I'm like, oh God, Negan, you're such a bad guy, but you're so cool. You're so cool, dude. I feel like Negan gets cooler and cooler the more time you spend with him. You know, obviously, like, there's moments you're like, ooh, that Negan, I hate you. It's like, oh, Negan, you're kind of awesome in a weird way. You know, there's that duality to it that oh God, it's because I freaking adore Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I cannot stress that enough. I freaking adore Jeffrey Dean Morgan, dude. If you weren't here last season, like, he will always be Papa Winchester to me. I also loved him in, God, what's that other movie that's based on comic? The Losers. Such a good movie. If you've never seen that movie, I highly recommend it because it's so good. Got Zoe Saldana, Idris Elba. It's such a good movie. But nevertheless, I don't think I even brought that up last season, did I? Because that Losers is based on a comic book, and now he's in something else that's based on a comic book. It's probably not the first time that's happened, but it's just kind of interesting in my brain. Nevertheless, but you have him kind of put things back in order, and it's just like, I'm here, I'm alive. Simon, you and me, we're gonna talk. We're gonna figure out what went wrong. And then, like, when he's about to walk away, a lady's like, "Thank God, Negan," you know. And then Negan's like, "See, this is what I do." I'm like, you never saw that. Like, all you saw was like, oh man, he's power tripping, people bowing to him. And I think they did such a switch on his character this season. And it's just like, oh, you thought you had Negan figured out? It's like, no, there's more to this situation. So now, like, it presents itself in a different way because it's like, is what the Savior's doing that bad? Yes, they've killed people, but even Negan's like, I didn't kill people. Like, Glenn and Abraham, that was all Rick. Rick got them killed. I did that because it's like, Rick put me in that position and I had to set an example. Why did I kill Glenn? That was because of Daryl. So it's like, basically, it's like their fault that this all transpired. So it's like, I don't know, like, they can be ruthless at times, but like I said, it seems like they're only reactionary. And we even saw it with the Kingdom to a certain extent because it's like, okay, you know, like, even a guy that's a general, even he kind of keeps things in line. He was like, okay, he's like, okay, things didn't have to end the way they did. Okay, we're going to figure this whole situation. You know, so in retrospect, it's one of those things that's like, you see it through new lenses, you know, so... Because it doesn't justify everything they do, but it's like, it's hard to say because, like, everyone's having their own way of how they want to make the world and shape the world because the world is so doomed that people, you know, it's like, it's hard to say, like, who's on the right end of things. So it's just, I don't know. It leaves me a tiny bit conflicted. Like I said, I'm still with Alexandria and stuff. I'm kind of like, are the Saviors that bad? Am I a bad person for thinking the Saviors aren't that bad? Do let me know. I'd love to get your opinions about that. Like, am I a bad person with siding with him? Especially recently because I've had, like, so many videos, especially things around Light. And since I do the whole heroes or villain situation, in particular, Light, Yagami, like, the main protagonist, anti-hero of Death Note, it kind of plays in that same vein. And I'm kind of like, I don't know. I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately, where it's like those characters that borderline, especially. I feel like Negan's starting to slide, not like on a hero scale, but he's sliding on a villain scale of where he's like completely terrible to like, maybe you're not that bad. Maybe you're not that bad. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, like, further on. You have Eugene figuring things out from Dwight because, like, Eugene got the paint on his fingers, which is kind of interesting. That's kind of one of, like, Dwight's... That was an interesting little thing to show that he does that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. What's that supposed to amount to? It's like... Because I thought, like, Eugene was going to find evidence in his room or that he'd already figured it out. But it's like, no. I was like, what does that mean? And then it turns out it's like, oh, like, Eugene looks at his thumb and sees the paint on the bag. And it's like, it's you. But he doesn't say anything. And I love Negan being like, hey... If you do this, you figure this out, you smart bastard. man, you're gonna be set. But even if you don't, if I know that you try your hardest, and I believe you tried your hardest, then it's like, hey, I'll kill you before this whole situation gets worse. Before you have to worry about, people running out of food and supplies and people starving. He's like, no matter what the situation is, just know I've got your back. And I'm like, that's in a twisted way, very, very nice of him. It's just like, oh, I'll look out for you. So that's, I don't know, it's fascinating. Because also in this episode, this episode also put something else in perspective to me, and it didn't click 100% in my head. It's like, oh yeah, because like most of the kingdom's people have been wiped out, because this is Rick and Daryl end up learning that the ones that ended up surviving from the assault is Jerry, Ezekiel, and Carol. But the rest of the kingdom was wiped out. Aside from the ones that are with, the Hilltop group with, Jesus, and Tara, like aside from those, it didn't click in my head. It's like, right. It didn't even click at the end of the episode. It's like, right, most of the kingdom's fighters are dead. And like, that's why they're like, we don't have the kingdom anymore, because the rest of it, people are just people. They're not trained. Most of his warriors, and I guess, want to keep up with the theme of kingdom. Did he ever refer to them as knights? He refers to himself as a king, but I don't think he ever refers to them as knights. But his fighters are mostly dead. They mostly died in that onslaught. So, like I said, with the exception of the few that are with, because the only one I know for sure that's definitely with the Hilltop in them is the lady with the bow. She's the only one. Like, she's one of his personal, like, top people, I think. So, because anytime it was one of those situations with the drop-off, she'd always go. So, I don't know, I think there might be others with them, but definitely her, and obviously Morgan, but Morgan's off on his own. So, I'm very interested to get back to that. But this whole situation puts them, like, Daryl's like, oh, we got this dynamite. We might as well blow a hole in the sanctuary and we can end this. Like, okay, the people will surrender and everything. But Rick's like, well, what if they don't? What if the saviors don't surrender? What if we end up getting those innocent people in there killed? They're just workers. They're not fighters. And what if we end up killing some of them with those walkers? And that just causes the workers to decide, hey, we're going to stand up and fight now because you've hurt us. So it's that situation where it's like, because I think this whole situation, it's making Rick think in a different light, which I'm so curious to get back to him and Maggie with the whole situation of like, what do we do with like, because we still, they never 100% decided what Maggie was going to do with those group of people. Like the ones that Jesus and them brought back. And I'm curious, like, what would Rick say? What is his opinion in this whole situation? You kind of get Daryl's opinion. Daryl's kind of like wiped them all out. Like, they're not good people. And like I said, it kind of coincides with this whole different look at them we got in this episode. But it's like Rick wasn't going to let that happen because I think this whole situation has put things in perspective of like, yeah, there are people in this situation who are just fighting to survive. All we have to do in his head is like, we kill Negan, the whole pyramid crumbles. We don't have to worry about killing innocent people. But it's like, at the end of the day, there are people on both sides dying. Some of their people are dying, the saviors are dying, and it's like, this is war, but I think it didn't go the way Rick was kind of hoping. But the fact is, he's like, we still got to go through the plan. It seems like Daryl's not on it. It's like, we need to come up with a new plan. They end up fighting, which I do later on. It's like, yeah, chokeholds are illegal. So, to the point that such good allies. Let's not forget where they started too. Daryl and Rick really didn't like each other, especially because of the whole, God, what's Daryl's brother? Isn't it Merle? Wasn't that his brother? It's been so damn long. Michael Rooker. What was his character's name? What's his name? Merle? I don't remember. I feel like such a dick. But like after that, like him and Rick didn't like each other for such a long time. But it's like, yo, they are like the tightest group. Like, it's like, yo, I got your back, Rick, And see them kind of torn like that. And it was a little scuffle, but I don't know if that's just like the beginning of something greater. So Rick's continuing his plan. Daryl's kind of off on his own too. So, but it's kind of interesting to me too is that Rick ended up looking up and he ended up seeing a helicopter. And even I was like, what the hell was what? Why is it? What is that all about? So we see him walking somewhere and there's someone kind of blowing a whistle. I don't know if that's him heading back to the kingdom or where he was. Like it looked like someone wearing armor. It didn't look like kingdom armor to me, but they see Rick walking forward, not unless that's another savior outpost. I don't know what that's all about. I also like the damn helicopter. What is that about? You haven't seen no helicopter or anything like that in such a long time. It's like, what? So that whole situation has got me wondering, like, what does that mean going forward? And also at the very end, we have, Eugene coming to Gabe, and it seems like Gabe's sick. I don't know. Maybe it's like all that infect, maybe carrying all those dead Walker parts on them to kind of get through has made him sick. And now it's in a situation where it's like, oh, I need to get the doc. But then you have Gabriel being like, no, 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 my purpose here is to get that doc out of here so he can get back and help Maggie with her baby situation. Because, you know, he's still trying to figure out what his purpose is in the whole situation. I'm curious to see what happens in the long run, especially now this puts Eugene in a very compromising position. He knows who the traitor is. He knows it's Dwight. Now he's got Gabriel asking him to do this. And it's like, it's kind of very similar to the Sasha situation last season too. So now it's like, because you see that he's riddled with guilt over this whole situation, because it's like he's got this newfound loyalty, but this is also meaning to turn it against his people, especially because he saw the way this, you know, Sasha situation ended as well. So maybe he doesn't want a repeat of that situation of someone that he knows it's like, oh, we were neighbors and everything. So I don't know. Like I said, in my opinion, another fantastic episode. I'm so curious to see what goes down in the next episode with this whole situation. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.